So I want to talk you through some of the keyboard shortcuts I use, okay? Just to help get around the edit a little faster. I usually like to put my pinky here on B and my middle fingers on JKL and my thumb on the Option key. Kind of a weird place to put your hand, but it'll all make sense here pretty soon. All right, so I'm gonna mute my audio so it doesn't play underneath us here. So I'm working on this wedding edit here. So to get around the timeline, I press the Option key and I can use my scroll wheel to zoom in and out here really quickly. It's a nifty way to get around. On this mouse, I have a horizontal scroll wheel. On an Apple mouse, you can just go sideways. And that's how I get around side to side there, okay? So JKL, these three keys in the middle, these will navigate me forward, backwards, and stop things. So L over here moves the playhead forward. If I press it a couple times, it goes faster and faster and faster and faster, so on and so forth, okay? This J key over here will reverse things and make it go backwards. Again, if I press it more times, it'll keep doubling that speed and going faster. If I want to cut something, say I just wanted the first half of this clip, just wanted to get a little bit of her moving the dress and looking up, that's where I want to stop. I use the B key with my pinky to cut the track, okay? Then over here, I can click and drag and select that bit I don't want. And then there's two buttons I use for deleting things. I use P, or I use this I think it's the semicolon key. So P just deletes it and leaves a gap. Semicolon deletes it and moves the timeline over. It's called a ripple delete, okay? So again, I select it, P deletes it, semicolon leaves a gap, okay? Another way I like to delete and kind of clean up footage is with the I and the O keys. If I press Option and I, it's gonna cut from the in point from this side of the clip to where my playhead is. Okay, it cut that out and it rippled it. If I press the Option and the O key, it's gonna go from this side and delete it over. So instead of clicking and dragging here to do that, I can just get my playhead where I want it to begin, press Option I, it'll drag it over. And then likewise, if I'm here and I want the ending, so on and so forth. So Option I, Option O will kind of clear those for you. Another keyboard shortcut, if I select something and I don't want to select it, I have these in and out points on the timeline. G clears the in and out points and lets me unselect those. Let's talk about getting things from the media pool to the timeline here. So if I'm in the media pool and I have a clip that I want to put on the timeline, there's two viewers here. So the one on the left shows what I'm looking at here in the media pool, and the one on the right shows what's happening down here on the actual timeline, okay? So if I want to maybe grab a clip of this area here, I need to mark an in point with I and an out point with O, just to tell the program what I want to put down here. Okay, so there's my in and out points. So now I have it where I want to put it on the timeline, and I use the period key to do an overwrite edit. That just puts it wherever my cursor is. So, and then your cursor automatically moves to the end of the timeline whenever you insert something. So it works really well if you're just quickly popping a bunch of footage in here, you're just scrubbing and you're putting lots of different stuff in, you know, it'll just kind of, it's a quick way to get it in there. So I have the undo key tied to a button on my mouse here, which is really convenient because it just lets me undo things really quickly from the mouse. If you don't have buttons on your mouse that you can tie to that, you can always use the other keyboard shortcut I put in here, which is the period button over here, or you can do the old school Command Z or Shift Command Z to undo and redo things. Okay, so there's our in and out points. We've done an overwrite edit. Another edit that's kind of helpful is if I want to put something on top from my B-roll here. So say I liked this shot of the mountains, and I just want to put that above whatever I'm working with here. If I press the Option key with my thumb and then the period key, it's going to insert that above whatever else I have going on. And that'll keep building layers, as many layers as you need to build or want to build, okay? So I have a whole bunch of layers there. I don't really want that many layers. So I usually like to work in about 3 or 4 layers if I can help it. So those are the two edits I use most of the time. All right, let's talk about a few more keyboard shortcuts. If I have a sequence that I really like the look of, say these 4 clips or whatever, and I want to put these together in one big clip, or let's make this example even better. So say I've got a whole big long sequence with a whole bunch of clips going on, and it's getting kind of complicated, right? I'll select all those, and I really like this edit. I want to commit to it, and I'll press the U button. Think unite. Okay, and that's going to create a compound clip here. Let's call it montage. Not sure if I spelled that right. There it goes, and it creates one clip with one audio track out of all of those things, okay? And now they're all together, which is kind of cool. If I press Option U, it'll disassemble that for me, which is nice. So say I've got this compound clip, but I actually want to get in there and make some changes. I can disassemble it and take a look at the originals here, which is helpful. I use compound clips a lot. Okay, if I need to readjust something and really insert a bunch of shots in the middle of something, I'll use Option and Y. That just selects everything under and behind my playhead to the right and lets me move the whole project over if I need to clear some space here in the middle to work. Lastly, I'm going to show you how I like to work sometimes just using the keyboard shortcuts. Say my hand gets a little tired or something. I'll use my up and down keys to go between shots. This goes to the nearest cut and just goes to that shot. So if I have a whole bunch of selects here of shots I like, it'll just kind of sift through those shots. I can look at them really quickly. And then say I find what I like, I'm going to play through that shot now. Maybe I need to zoom up. I'll use page up and page down here. Zoom in and zoom out. That's right above these, so it's easy reach. Okay, lets me zoom up and zoom out. I'm using the JKL keys to get around. Okay, and then I can cut from here. Arrow left and right goes one frame at a time, one little frame to the right or to the left. So say I make a cut here, and then I want to select the footage I just cut. I can press 0 to select that footage, and then I can ripple delete it. And maybe I don't like that cut. I can get rid of that one, and get rid of that one, and so on and so forth, right? Period key is undo here. And so if my wrist is getting tired or I just want to change it up, sometimes I'll go I'll just go to keyboard editing instead of using my mouse. Kind of navigate with the up and down keys, page up, page down, select with my 0 key, and then delete and do things like that. So it's kind of it's a good brain break sometimes to just shift to keyboard editing only. Last of all, let's talk about assembling an edit. So the way I like to think about editing is I like to create my radio edit first, which is the audio, the core audio of the story. And I like to get that core audio placed first. And then only when I have the audio placed first and it's easy to listen to and I can catch the story just from listening through the audio, then I worry about the video that I paint on top of it, right? So it's called the radio edit. You're just getting your audio squared away first, worrying about, if I was listening to this as a podcast, would it make sense? And then you worry about your visuals. You get your visuals built up from there, and then you decorate it with some sound effects or whatnot on the bottom end of things, and then you can export it. All right, we'll get into it more in the next one.